Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the subtopic the Earth natural greenhouse effect and the greenhouse gases and global warming, which is a well-known topic to us, which is coming under the Unit 1. Introduction or to the Earth greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is a natural process that warms the Earth's surface, making it suitable for life. It is a natural process that warms the Earth's surface, making it suitable for life. But at the same time, the concentration is more. What will happen? It will increase the temperature. Okay, so that it will be unsuitable for the human. The greenhouse effect is a natural process that warms the Earth's surface, making it suitable for life. Otherwise, what will happen if there is no greenhouse effect? If we will be affected with very cold climate, we could not able to sustain. Okay. Without it, Earth would be too cold for most living organisms. Underline the word too cold for most living organisms. Okay, we have a jacket and we have a heater and man made like that to make them to sleep in a comfortable zone. Just imagine, yeah, the other living beings, they could not able to survive with a very cold climate, right? Okay, they don't have that facilities. Okay, what we have right now. Okay, it works with a like a greenhouse used for plants. Okay, gases trap heat and keep the environment warm. It works like a greenhouse used for plants. Gases trap heat, okay, and keep the environment warm. Solar radiation from the sun passes through the atmosphere, warming the Earth's surface. Okay, the Earth emits heat as infrared radiation, which is partly trapped by the greenhouse gases, keeping the planet habitable. Underline the word keeping the planet habitable. So this is a natural one. Greenhouse effect is a natural process. Okay, it's not a man-made process. But at the same time, if you give a greenhouse gas emission in a large quantity, like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrogen dioxide, NOx, okay, and things like that, obviously it will increase the concentration, increase the heat effect. Okay, so importance of greenhouse effect maintains Earth average temperature around 15 degrees Celsius, essential for ecosystem and biodiversity. Okay, so 15 degree essential for ecosystem and biodiversity. The temperature is 15 degrees Celsius. Prevent extreme temperature fluctuation between day and night. So if you go to moon, okay, there will be a vast temperature difference. Okay, so night we will find a freezing point. Okay, if Chandrayaan went there, actually we just launched the satellite Chandrayaan, and then we send the rover there on the planet on the moon. Okay, uh, then what we have seen actually is very difficult during the night time. It will go to the freezing point. Okay, so they prevent extreme temperature fluctuation. We don't have a much temperature fluctuation between the day and night, right? Right. Support stable climate needed for agriculture and human settlement. So this all is an advantage of greenhouse effect. Support stable climate needed for agriculture and human settlement. Enables the existence of liquid water, a key ingredient for life. So it also enables the existence of liquid water. Without it, Earth temperature would drop to about minus 18 degrees Celsius. If there is no greenhouse, then imagine it will be minus 18 degrees Celsius. For for the ecosystem to survive, okay, or the biodiversity, the minimum temperature is requirement is 15 degree. Okay, just imagine if it goes to minus 18 degrees Celsius, what would be the effect? Even the human could not able to survive without any additional setup. Okay, in the meaning to say additional procurement of I mean additional things like jacket and so on and so forth. Okay, so the process of the greenhouse effect: sun emits shortwave solar radiation that reaches the Earth's surface. The Earth absorbs the energy and warms up. Okay, some energy is reflected back into the space by clouds, ice, and reflective surfaces. That is albedo effect. Albedo effect is a reflecting surfaces like cloud, ice, and reflective surfaces. Heat, Earth radiates heat at long wave infrared radiation. Even what is the greenhouse effect does actually? Whatever the light which is passing through the ozone layer and then through the cloud and then it come reaches the earth itself is reflected back the radiation. But what will happen? The greenhouse gas again it will absorb and then reflect back the heat to the earth. If there is no greenhouse effect, it will go, the heat will be reflected back again to the atmosphere, and you will get only a minus 18 degrees Celsius. Okay, but the requirement for the ecosystem is 15 degrees Celsius. Just imagine. Okay, so Earth radiates heat as a long wave infrared radiation. Greenhouse gases absorb and re-emit the infrared energy, trapping the heat in the atmosphere. Greenhouse gases in nature: water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide, ozone are the found to be a greenhouse gases. Water vapor, most abundant natural greenhouse gas, responsible for feedback effects in climate. Carbon dioxide, naturally released by respiration. Okay, all the planets which will take up the oxygen and then leaves out the carbon dioxide, naturally released by the respiration. Okay, the plants will take oxygen during night time and then release the carbon dioxide. In daytime is opposite. Okay, even humans will take oxygen and then respiration carbon dioxide. The volcanic eruptions, carbon dioxide will comes out, and decomposition. Okay, the methane produced naturally in wetlands and by some animals. Nitrous oxide released from oceans and soil microbes, and ozone naturally found in the stratosphere absorbs harmful UV radiation. Balance of incoming and outgoing energy. Earth climate system is balanced when incoming solar radiation equals outgoing heat energy. Okay, changes in this balance lead to warming or cooling trends. Okay, so incoming is outgoing, then is okay. Okay, so changes in this balance leads to a warming or cooling trends. Increased greenhouse gases trap more heat, disturbing this balance. Okay, so if it is natural, is okay. Okay, otherwise, what will happen? Increase in the greenhouse gases trap the more heat and then reflect back the heat into the earth atmosphere, the earth. So obviously the temperature of the earth will increase, which will could not the human could not able to withstand. Okay, when compared to the normal. Natural events like volcanic eruptions can temporarily reduce the incoming sunlight. So volcanic eruption will try to form a cloud, and then it will reduce the heat radiation which is entering into the earth atmosphere. Human activities are now the main driver of the long-term imbalance. Underline the word human activities, which are the main culprit, okay, or now the main driver of long-term imbalance. So this should not happen. Human activities, anthropogenic activities, okay, need to be it's supposed to be a sustainable one. Okay, otherwise what will happen? This all will cause a climate change. Natural versus enhanced greenhouse effect. Natural greenhouse effect essential for maintaining life-friendly temperature. Enhanced greenhouse effect caused by increased greenhouse gases due to human activity. The enhanced effect leads to global warming. Underline the word enhanced. That is due to human activity, enhance the global warming and climate change. Key contributors are fossil fuel burning, deforestation, and industrial emission. So the carbon footprint is keep on increasing day to day because of the large amount of fossil fuel has been used for the automation, and the deforestation occurs because of the carbon dioxide is not taken by the plants and then release the new oxygen. Okay, deforestation. Okay, which will again for the human benefit only. The people will destroy the trees. Okay, so it's very difficult. I mean, we need to educate these students actually to have a lot of plantation around them. So nowadays, for the as per the environmental regulation, they have whenever the new building arises, they will have 33% greenery. But the people how they show the 33% greenery, just like planting something on a vertical space or just putting a small shrubs inside. That is not it, 33%. So what they mean is the forestation, greenery plantation supposed to be 33%. You can very well can do that part. I'm not saying growing grass on the what do you call the car parking area. That's fine, but at the same time, plantation supposed to be there for 33% strictly. Okay, human activities intensify the trapping of heat beyond natural levels. Intensify the trapping of heat beyond the natural levels. So that should not be there. So because of that, the increase in temperature is day to day increasing because of the human made activities disposing the greenhouse effects due to the industrialization or the human made activities. Okay, role of clouds in the greenhouse effect. Clouds influence Earth's climates in two ways: reflecting sunlight back to the space, cooling the planet, and trap the heat in the atmosphere, warming the planet. So the clouds will do both the things. The type, thickness, and altitude of clouds determine their net effect. Okay, high thin clouds usually warm, while low thick clouds okay, often cool. Okay, so thin clouds usually warm the things and then the thick clouds will cool the thing. Okay, climate change may alter cloud patterns affecting the greenhouse effect. Okay, climate change may alter the cloud patterns. So cloud patterns, cloud out it forms actually because of the hydrological cycle, right? So the water is getting evaporated and go and condense and then form the clouds. Summary of natural greenhouse effect. Natural greenhouse effect is important for sustaining life on Earth, caused by gases that trap the infrared radiation in the atmosphere, maintains stable and warm conditions for living organisms. Human activities are altering the natural balance. Understanding the process is key to addressing the climate change. Natural greenhouse effect is very necessary, but at the same time, human-made a greenhouse effect is not necessary. That unnecessarily warm our planet. Greenhouse gases and their role. Greenhouse gases are atmospheric gases that absorb and emit infrared radiation. They regulate earth at temperature by trapping heat. Different gases have varying heat trapping abilities. So the carbon dioxide, methane, nitrogen have different heat trapping abilities. Human activities have increased their concentration. The key greenhouse gases includes carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, okay, and then ozone and water vapor. Carbon dioxide, we'll see one by one. Primary greenhouse gases from human activities released by burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. So most of the industry they use the coal as their source, okay, for the steam production. So, using a boiler, okay, a boiler, coal feed boiler is very common in industries. Okay, because of that, there will be emission of carbon dioxide, increase in carbon level in the atmosphere. Also emitted during deforestation and cement production. Okay, underline the word cement production. So, a lot of concretes have been built, people have been built up, high-rise buildings. If you go to the Western countries, not only Western countries, nowadays even all countries they have a high-rise building. Even I've seen in Africa, there are plenty of high-rise buildings and so the concrete buildings. Okay, so and also they will have a glasses, okay, in the building which also reflected back the heat again back to the atmosphere. As a long atmospheric lifetime, making its effects persistent. Okay, responsible for over 60% of global warming from human greenhouse gas emission. So imagine carbon dioxide is itself is aware 60% of global warming from human greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, methane. So methane and what do you call nitrous oxide are all toxic. I mean, more concentrated effect when compared to the carbon dioxide that we have seen in the previous lecture. More effective than carbon dioxide at trapping heat, but shorter lived. They also say the same thing. Okay, released from livestock digestion, rice paddies, landfills, and fossil fuel extraction. Natural sources include wetlands and termites, contribute to tropospheric ozone formation, significant in the short-term warming of the planet. And coming to the nitrous oxide, potent, potent, very I mean, important greenhouse gas. Okay, potent. I mean, it has a influence. Okay, with a warming potential 300 times that of the carbon dioxide. I think greater than 200 times that we have seen in the last lecture. But here they mention is 300 times compared to the carbon dioxide released from agricultural activities, fertilizers, and industrial process. Okay, so when they produce the fertilizers, obviously there is a chances of nitrous oxide emitting from their exhaust. Okay, also emitted from burning fossil fuels and biomass naturally produced by ozones and soil microbes as a long atmospheric lifetime over 100 years. Okay, so nitrous oxide can be as a long atmospheric lifetime over 100 years. Just imagine. Okay, so the ozone, tropospheric, stratospheric ozone products form from harmful UV rays. Tropospheric ozone act as a greenhouse gas and air pollutant. So the stratosphere it will act as a protection layer. When the ozone present in the troposphere, ozone acts as a greenhouse gas. So where it locates, depending on the location, the ozone acts as a one good thing, good ozone and a bad ozone. We used to say, okay, the bad ozone, what is it when the ozone present in the tropospheric region? Okay, formed by chemical reaction between sunlight and pollutants, contribute to warming and damages human health controlled through air quality regulations. Coming to the water vapor, that is also considered to be a greenhouse gas. Most abundant natural greenhouse gas concentration depend on temperature and climate conditions. Warmer air holds more water vapor, enhancing warming, act as a climate feedback rather than a direct driver. Okay, it acts as a climate feedback rather than a direct driver, plays a key role in weather and climate systems. Water vapor is necessary actually, okay, in the air, but at the same time there is a some concentration. That concentration exists, obviously it will act as a greenhouse gas. Most abundant natural greenhouse gas concentration depend on temperature and climate condition. Warmer air holds more water vapor, enhancing warming. Okay. Act as a climate feedback rather than a direct driver, plays a key role in weather and climate systems. Fluorinated gases, synthetic greenhouse gases used in refrigeration, air conditioning, and manufacturing. As I told you, CF2, Cl2, difluorocarbon. Previously, it has been used as a refrigerant to cool in the refrigerator, but nowadays it has been replaced with the some natural liquid ammonia and things like that. Okay, extremely highly global warming potential, thousands of times more than carbon dioxide. Just imagine hydrofluorocarbon includes hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs, PFCs, SF16 and NF3. Long atmospheric lifetimes, making them persistent pollutant regulated under the Kyoto Protocol and Kigali Amendment. Sources of anthropogenic greenhouse gases: burning fossil fuels for electricity, heat, and transport, industrial processes and manufacturing, agriculture and livestock farming, land use changes like deforestation, waste management, and landfills. So the sources where from where it comes from: waste management and landfills, and also deforestation, land use changes like deforestation, agriculture and livestock farming, industrial process, and burning fossil fuels. These are the sources for the greenhouse gases because of the human-made activities. That's why they say anthropogenic greenhouse gases, which we have already discussed. Global warming potential measure of how much heat of gas traps over a specific period compared to carbon dioxide. Okay, measure how much heat a gas traps over a specific period. Okay, compared to the carbon dioxide. So global warming potential, they have a reflect. I mean, it's a indicator. Carbon dioxide, how comparatively we can see carbon dioxide has a greenhouse potential of 1. The methane will have a greenhouse is about 28 to 36 over 100 years. Nitrous oxide have a greenhouse global warming potential of around 265 to 298, more than 200 times. That's why they say if the baseline is carbon dioxide is 1, methane will have around more than 20 times more than 20 times stronger, and nitrous oxide will act as a stronger than carbon dioxide more than 200 times. That is almost 300 times, 265 to 298. Else, policymakers prioritize greenhouse gas reduction effects. Atmospheric lifetime of greenhouse gases indicates how long as a gas remains in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide hundreds to thousands of years, methane about 12 years, nitrous oxide over 100 years. Fluorinated gases decades to thousands of years. Okay, longer lifetime means longer warming influence. Okay, so just imagine. So if this type of gases goes, it will not go as such. It will sustain for a quite long number of years than the human. Okay, so 100 years or thousands of years is a lifetime more than a lifetime of a human. Okay, so the feedback mechanism, positive feedbacks amplify the climate change. Example, more water vapor, increasing warming. Negative feedbacks counteract changes. Example, increased cloud cover can cool. Feedbacks influence climate sensitivity. Melting ice reduces albedo, increasing heat absorption. Permafrost thaw releases methane, further warming the planet. The feedback mechanism. Climate climate forcing. The external forces that influence the Earth's climate balance: natural volcanic eruption, solar radiation, anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions, aerosols, land use changes. Positive forcing warms the climate, negative forcing cools it. Greenhouse gas emissions are the dominant positive forcing today. Okay, climate forcing. So external factors that influence the earth climate balance. Underline the word external factors. What are the external factors? By natural volcanic eruption, solar variation that we could not be able to stop. Anthropogenic, this we can be able to control. Positive forcing warm the climate, negative forcing cools it. Okay, so greenhouse gases are the dominant positive forcing today. Roles of ozone. Ozone absorbs large amount of carbon dioxide and heat, act as a buffer, slowing atmospheric warming. Okay, so the ozone will help you to reduce the carbon dioxide. It will absorb the heat, absorb the things, but not as to a larger extent. Warming ozones reduce carbon dioxide. Okay, warming ozones reduce carbon dioxide absorption capacity. So once it get heated up, warming ozones reduce carbon dioxide absorption capacity. So it should be chill. Ozone acidification harms marine life. So even if it is absorbs, if you have water, carbon dioxide plus water will form a carbonic acid. So the carbonic acid will be an acid that will affect the maritime life. Okay, so changes in ozone currents affect climate pattern. It's a ecosystem. Okay, so you should be very careful. Okay, one even the other living species also should not be getting affected because of the anthropogenic activities. Changes in ozone currents affect the climate patterns. Ozone acidification harms marine life. These are the things. Okay, summary of a greenhouse gas rule. Greenhouse gases are essential for life, but dangerous in excess. Human activity is rapidly increasing greenhouse gas levels. Each gas has unique properties and warming effects. Understanding them is crucial for climate solutions. Mitigation focuses on reducing emission and enhancing sinks. Enhanced greenhouse effect. The enhanced greenhouse effect occurs when human activities significantly increase the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Activities such as burning fossil fuels, they keep on repeating the same. Burning fossil fuel, industrialization, large-scale agriculture release more carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. This extra heat trapping capacity goes beyond the natural balance, leading to rise the global temperature. So if it is natural balance, is okay. Okay, it will the even Earth is still will regain its position. But what will happen if you keep on dumping a lot amount of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere? Obviously, that will have an effect on the increase in global warming. Okay, it disturb the climate pattern, increase the frequency. Okay, underline the word greenhouse gases disturb the climate pattern. So because of the climate pattern changes, unnecessarily it will rain during the summer or during the winter rainy season. There will be drought. Okay, please keep in mind. Okay, it disrupts the climate pattern, increase the frequency of extreme weather events, and causing the long-term shift in ecosystems. The enhanced effect is a major driver of modern climate change. A major contributors to the enhanced greenhouse effect, fossil fuel combustion is the large contributor, releasing large volume of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Deforestation reduces the plant capacity to absorb carbon dioxide, amplifying the greenhouse gas buildup. Agricultural practices, especially livestock farming, release methane, a potent heat trapping gases. Industrial processes emit fluorinated gases that are far stronger than the carbon dioxide in trapping the heat. So how many times? More than 1,000 times stronger than the carbon dioxide. Just imagine. Rapid urbanization and waste management practices further increase the emissions, okay, intensifying the effect. So enhance the greenhouse effect because of the human activities. So these are the things we need to consider, okay, during for the sustainability of the planet. Consequences of global warming. Global warming causes average global temperature to rise beyond the historical norms. Okay, so almost the temperature has been increasing 1.8 degrees Celsius per every year. Just imagine. So 10 years back it was 35 is found to be very hot. 45 now they say is 45. Okay, this is a normal temperature. Just imagine. Okay, melting glaciers and polar ice contribute to sea level rise, threatening coastal areas because of the greenhouse gases. Water, the earth is getting heated up, the polar ice getting melted, and the low-lying countries will be getting affected. Okay, please keep in mind. Weather patterns become more unpredictable, leading to heat waves, droughts, and heavy rainfall. Because of the heat trap, the ozone currents, okay, there will be change in ozone currents because all are interrelated. So we should be very careful on it. Ecosystems and biodiversity face stress as habitats shift or disappear. Human health risk increase due to extreme heat, vector-borne disease, and food insecurity. Human health risk increase due to extreme heat. When there is extreme heat, vector-borne diseases may happen, and food insecurity may take place because of the drought area. There won't be food security will be there. Please keep in mind all this will cause us the thing. Not only the drought, even the flooding will spoil the food crops. Okay, that you know already how the farmers is getting affected because of the unpredicted rain. That is the rainfall takes place apart from the different monsoon. That are the things you need to keep in mind. Sea level rise, melting ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctic contribute significantly to sea level rise. Thermal expansion of seawater occurs as oceans warm, further elevating sea levels. Low-lying coastal regions and small island nations are at high risk of flooding. Rising seas lead to the loss of arable land, forcing human migration. Okay, rising seas. So just imagine the low-lying countries will be affected and people need to migrate. Okay, infrastructure damage and economic loss increase as flooding events become more frequent. As I've seen actually a few days before a video, that is flooding occurs actually near to the slope region. It has washes out the all the houses which has been in the slanting land, that means slope region. Okay, just imagine. Okay, this all affect the human activities, and also it is a lost life loss also occurs, okay, because of this thing. Okay, please keep in mind, very careful. And impact on weather patterns, climate change disturbs established wind and precipitation patterns. Rainfall, monsoons, hurricanes and cyclones may become more intense and unpredictable. Underline the word unpredictable. Okay, and even you can say actually through satellite we could able to see, but we could able to predict only the rainfall occurs. Suddenly yesterday night, yesterday evening, there is a heavy rainfall along the coastal region, almost around 6 to 7 districts of Tamil Nadu, including Pondicherry region. Okay, so these are all unpredictable, but even though we predict one day before that this happens, but it's not a rainy season right now. Okay, so these are the things you need to keep in mind, because of what is the effect and how it interact with the um, environment, and how it give a negative effect to the human and the other living species on earth. Oh, regions prone to drought many experience longer, more severe dry spells. Wet regions may face extreme rainfall and flooding events. Okay, shift in weather patterns affect agriculture, water resources. Okay, weather pattern will affect the agriculture. Underline the word, very important point: agriculture, water resources, and disaster preparedness efforts. Okay. Ozone acidification, as I told you, carbonic acid will form. Ozone absorbs around one third of the carbon dioxide emitted by human activities. Okay, dissolved carbon dioxide reacts with seawater to form carbon. Underline the word seawater with carbonic acid. Very important point. Okay, lowering the ozone pH, and acidification affects marine life, especially the organism with the calcium carbonate shells such as corals and mollusks. And the corals actually is nothing but a coral reef. You might have seen actually when the what do you call scuba divers or people who are getting into the inside the sea, you could be able to see the coral reefs. Okay, how it looks like. It's a jelly-like thing which has been sticking on the rocks and things like that. The coral reefs vital for biodiversity, waste bleaching, and sexual degradation. Okay, so this threatens fisheries, tourism, and coastal protection provided by healthy marine ecosystem. We need to maintain a healthy marine ecosystem because we all depend on the even the marine life. Okay, so the people who eat fishes and things like that, if it has been a carbonic acid, it has been acidified, it could not able to survive and then die. If you take that fish as your food, what will happen? It again have a negative effect on the human health. Okay, so these are the things we need to keep in mind. Impacts on ecosystem and biodiversity. Species may face extinction if unable to adapt to rapid climate shift, habitat loss from deforestation, desertification, desertification, and melting ice affect survival rate. Migration patterns change for many animal species, disrupting the food chains. Coral reefs, wetlands, and tropical forests are among the most vulnerable ecosystems. Loss of biodiversity impact ecosystems, services such as pollination, water purification, and climate regulation. Human health impact. Coming to the human health heat waves increase the cause of heat stroke. That's why in the during the summer, the people say the old people don't go outside during from 11 to 4, especially very hot summers, because they may get affected with the heat stroke very easily. Okay, so heat waves increase the cases of heat stroke. Heat waves increase the cases of heart stroke, dehydration, and cardiovascular stress. Changing climate expand the range of vector-borne diseases like malaria and dengue, very common during the flooding period. Okay, Climate expand the range of vector-borne diseases, changing climate. Okay, air pollution from higher temperature, western respiratory conditions. Okay, food and water scarcity, increased malnutrition on waterborne diseases, mental health impacts arise from displacement, disaster trauma, and loss of livelihoods. Okay, so obviously, if you have a not enough amount of oxygen, we will suffocate, right? Similarly, because of this type of things, what will happen? Mental health impacts arise from displacement, disaster trauma, and loss of livelihoods. Okay, these are also mental health also may get affected. Okay, so for example, if it is very hot, okay, so you could not able to work or you could not able to concentrate really when you're doing a hot summer. Okay, when we people have been sitting inside the lab and even in a chair, we found it very difficult to take the classes during the summer season. Okay, because it's very hot. It was more than 40 degrees Celsius, very common during the summer right now in India, especially in Tamil Nadu at metro like metro. So just imagine the fossil fuels which has been used for the transportation has been dumping a lot of greenhouse gases which has been trapping the radiation and then return back the thing. Because of that only it happens, especially when compared to the rural area. The urban area will have a more greenhouse gases that will reflect back again on the same region. Okay, that's why we find it very hard. Yeah, rural where you have a lot of plantation and go and sit near the plantation during the summer, you will find very chillness. This is how this is the thing. Okay, so what is happening? How we have been getting protected by the forestation or the plantation that will helps us to reduce the temperature. Yeah, that's why in the olden days the people they what you call it, the Ashoka has planted a lot of trees on the either side of the road and things like that. But now it's very common in it's not common in four lane roads or 6 lane roads that people have been providing. But there is no tree. I don't find see trees on the things. But I just asked the government actually to put a plantation on the either side of the roads so that what will happen, you will find a climate is very greenery as well as try to depress the greenhouse gases emissions. Okay, the carbon dioxide will be reduced in an enormous quantity. Okay, mitigation strategies shift to renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydro to reduce emissions, improve energy efficiency in industries, buildings, and transportation, reforestation and afforestation projects enhance natural carbon capture, promote sustainable agriculture practice to cut methane and nitrous oxide emission. Agriculture practice to cut methane and nitrous oxide emission, sustainable agriculture practice. Underline the word sustainable agriculture practices. Support policies that enforce emission reduction targets and invest in greenhouse technologies. Adaptation strategies build resilient infrastructure to withstand the climate-related disasters. Develop yearly warning system for extreme weather events. Promote water conservation and drought-resistant crops in agriculture, and strengthen healthcare system to address the climate-related diseases. Engage communities in local climate action to build adaptive capacity. Okay, these are the adaptation strategies. So before adaptation strategies, we also better to try to avoid the root cause. Okay. So with this note, I just stop it here. I believe that hope you understood this today's lecture is very easy content. So hope we can see in next class in face-to-face section. Thank you.